I'm just gonna. Did you tweet it out, Phil?
Oh, we're live. All right, we are live, and the New York Mets are free. They're free falling. But we're not going to freak out right now because we got ourselves our Coors Light. That's right, the beer that is made to chill, the beer that is made to get Mets fans in the right frame of mind and chill us out with those beautiful blue mountains. You don't have to be selling out stadiums to feel like you're chilling backstage. You just need Coors Light because, as always, music plus Coors Light equals chill amplified. And again, the song of the week was Free Falling by our boy Tom Petty until we got a nice, easy blowout of what we should have had two of against the A's. So we'll take that. I like to drink my Coors Light and sit back and watch my Mets do whatever they might do in my soul. My dad is looking for his cable took away SNY, so he was looking to get it back, or he was going to go to Hulu, I think, or just get both. Just have Hulu literally just for the Mets. And I said, let's wait a week for that, Pops. Wait till after the next West Coast road trip. So instead, just drink your Coors Light, look at your little score app or whatever it may be, and we can go from there. So amplify your chill this summer with Coors Light. Choose chill. Choose Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/believe to see how Coors Light can amplify your summer. And be sure to keep an eye out on Coors Light's social handles and Coors Light Backstage Sixpack.com for all summer long for drops. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And hey, we're in Colorado. We talked about it last episode, but Kyle, as one of his foils, are you blaming Frank the Tank for this entire free fall here?
I mean, they won last night, so now they're 3-5 since he's thrown out the first pitch. I'm not faulting him for throwing the pitch, but I would not have worn the jersey. And I tweeted at him right before he threw the pitch. I'm like, you may have wanted to skip this one. And he's like, I'm trying to do all 30, which, let's be honest, the Mets aren't inviting him, so it's not going to get over that hump anyway. So it's like, just choose another game.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's a very interesting little situation they have there. But nonetheless, since the last time we all spoke, we had a little bit of life in our eyes. It was me, Phil, and Clemmer, and we were KFC's I think getting called to the unnamed show, so I don't think he'll be on today for the people listening and don't see his beautiful face here with us. We had a little bit of life in our eyes, Philip, last week. We were like, all right, it's tough, but win 2 or 3 against the M's, or at least just take one, get back home for some home cooking. And then the Seattle Mariners we stopped scoring runs against the Seattle Mariners.
I mean, yeah, you can say, the Mariners have good pitching and all that, but you expect more than one run. And then the very next game, the Tigers win 15-1 versus the Mariners. So then you're watching it, it's like, oh, maybe we didn't play the greatest team in baseball this past weekend, and it was just a bad stretch.
Is there an advanced baseball stat that measures other teams putting up web gem level plays against you? Because I feel like we ran into a fucking brick wall of those on this road trip. Is that a fair thing to say? Do you know of anything like that, Philip?
There definitely is a stat where you can find that out. I just don't know if I can pull that up right now.
They have the lucky hit stat and the expected batting average stat, so it's got to be coupled in there somewhere.
I'm going to say the Mets led the league in that for the last week, at the very least, because, whenever our offense was able to scrap together something, it was just a giant kick. Not even a kick. It was like an uppercut punch to the dick. It was a Hadouken from Street Fighter to the dick every single time. I don't really have much to add from the West Coast. I was in and out. You stay up late, you get up cranky in the morning. Kyle, were you present for those games?
Yes, I was. I was fucking miserable. So I was on vacation last week, but it was supposed to be an actual vacation that got canceled. So then it was just a stay-at-home vacation. I'd already taken the time off, and I'm like, I might as well. So I had to. So it was just doing yard work and whatever else, and then watching the Mets at night. So it was just the total opposite of what I was hoping for.
You basically went to jail. You went from having a vacation to jail, essentially.
I was in Guantanamo being forced to watch the Mets on the West Coast trip.
You would have been happier going to work, but then doing fun stuff at night to fill in the time. Instead, you did yard work and watched the Mets
and stuck inside because they had the hurricane coming through. Yeah. So
and everyone was tired because they were up late for the Mariners game. What was the Phil takeaway for the Mariners series?
Just happy it was over, that we don't have to see the Mariners till next season. I mean, we have another West Coast trip in 2 more weeks that I guess you have to get the jet lag out of our system for.
Yeah, once the Mets bodies adjust back to like local Eastern time, they're gonna go back out west again. God damn it!
And then you realize that was the easy half of the West Coast trip.
Yeah,
it's insane.
That's the scary part. And this team has been like this all season, right? It's like, they're beating the easy teams, but wait till they play the hard teams. And sometimes they show up more against the hard teams. Yeah. This has been the perfect season of just being like, I'm just going to let it play out. I'm not going to get too high, not going to get too low. Certainly not going to live and die over every pitch. But I have to say, and I've even cut back social media use a good chunk the last year. But I was kind of like going on social media, and I saw someone in our presence here. I think Phil is like, capital B believing, because Phil, this was like 2022. Phil, I started seeing tweets there. They have a little more of your soul than they did like a month ago, I'd say, because you were really fucking in a dark place for a little bit there in Seattle.
I mean, there was nothing to cheer about. It was only 3 games of nothingness.
Yep. Yeah, we've talked about it. Is it worse to have the bad pitching or bad hitting? When your team's just getting blanked every game, it's just like, why am I even watching this at this point? So I understand where you're coming from.
No reason. There was no like moment where you're like, oh wow, we're in a good spot here. It was just you fall down a couple runs early and that's the ball game. Like at least in May, it was a bunch of blown saves where it's like, okay, maybe they were just our bullpen just shit. That series, everything was just awful.
I mean, the runners in scoring position. You would have just assumed they would have gotten a hit at some point.
It was comical.
And then, Pete is like going to be the poster. If Judge was the poster child for betting on yourself, Pete is the poster child of like, get your bag and get it while you can. Because I mean, it's yesterday. Obviously, he's had like some spurts here and there, but I saw he's hitting like 209 going into yesterday's game with runners in scoring position, which is by far the lowest for qualified at bats. It's insane.
Is there any way he can make that? Like, he can't get the same offer he got from us, let alone anybody at this point, you think? Like, the way contracts have gone in baseball?
I don't know, maybe if he has 14 or 15 home runs in the next 6 weeks, maybe, but like...
Yeah.
And every time he goes 4 for 4, you think, oh, okay, like, we're going to see him go on a hot streak like we've seen in the past, and it just has not happened.
Let's not forget, too, kind of the poster child for that on a lesser scale, because Pete... all-star and prolific home run hitter. Conforto is kind of the guy for that for us, Yeah. It's like sometimes just take that bag, both ripped by Boris, Conforto and so Scotty boy. Let's sit to the table. Now this is the way I think it can work out for Pete. Pete wants to get that money. Boris wants to save face. And Uncle Stevie has the money for it. I think it has to be a package deal. Think it has to be a package deal for a guy. I mean, he doesn't have to travel that far. He's right up across the river in the Bronx right now. So I think it's like Steve Cohen could just put a pallet of money down like the Joker, like the giant stacks of money, and be like, Scott, this money could go to your 2 clients, Juan Soto and Pete Alonso. Divvy it up however you see fit. But that money is only going to 2 or it's going to none. Juan Soto has to come here if you want to get that money. So that's kind of the way I'm operating mentally. And I guess Pete, is there like, what's the market for 30-year-old first baseman? Is that what he is? Is he 30 already?
30 in free agency, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I've already seen like the Lucas Duda comparisons of like, this is how old he was at this time when we gave him whatever money we gave him. And it's like the numbers are scary similar.
Really?
Yeah.
And like we've gone through this like before, like first basemen generally don't get paid. Like we offered him Freddie Freeman money last year. He's not getting Freddie Freeman money.
He wanted Olsen money with the Braves, and he's not. Yeah. He's going to crack 100.
He'll probably end up getting over 100, but like he may be a guy that's also out on the free agent market till like February. Like we don't even know.
And again, Freddie Freeman won an MVP, lives in the top 5, every year or two. It's two very.
He's a Hall of Famer, probably the best first baseman in the last 15 years. So. Pete Alonso is just not that.
Take that bag, kids, for all you. Play baseball. Better idea than football. I think we know that one so far. But, I mean, playing a different position might help if you have the athletic ability to. Then again, like, we know the way Pete runs the base pass. I don't see an outfielding ever being a potential option for him, let alone middle infield. Third base, I don't even think third base would have been it. So,
I mean, I guess he always thought he could fall back on DH, and then he sees Vientos, and he's like, well, that's probably going to be his position.
Yeah.
When Martinez has moved on. We're looking ahead already, but I'm hoping he gives the hometown discount. And also, I would not be surprised if after he does get his contract squared away, he goes right back to hitting 40 home runs because he's not worried about anything.
Yeah,
He's
and
pressing,
that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough if you know you have your contract coming up. So, I mean, I hope the best for Pete. We like him. I forget he came on the show. It was like so long ago. It was a lot of shit has changed since then. Good dude, likes to hit baseballs. Hard not to love a guy like that. But he's not Freeman. How's Olsen doing this year? Is he?
His overall numbers are bad, but he's been good in the second half.
Yeah, I feel like they're all starting to heat up down there in Atlanta. They're not going away. Michael Myers just doesn't say halfway through me I'm good. I'm gonna go home now and die. They're gonna stick around.
It's gonna come down to 3 games in Atlanta in the middle of the week where there's no House of the Dragon on.
Yeah, House of the Dragon. Again, 5 minutes watching 2 screens at once, which I can't believe is a hard thing to do, versus a full game in a fucking Rockies jersey. One of the all-time. I said this, Kyle, I said this last week. People were like, Clem, what's your thoughts on this? And I said, what's the point of even getting upset about it anymore? It's like a certain former president who's running for president. He's going to do stuff that's going to make waves. The people who love him are going to spin zone it. People who hate him are going to scream louder. And it's just on to the next one, right? I couldn't have more of an apt comparison for our little tank out there. So yeah, God, I fucking hate the Chop House. I hate the Chop House so goddamn much. It's crazy to think just that first half of 22, how much fun it was going there and just beating the fuck out of that place.
Dude, even this year, we went to Atlanta in April and we blew them out.
Yeah.
Luis Fiorme was on the mound at first. That's how long baseball season is. We blew out the Braves in their house 4 months ago.
Our former Met watch, Guillorme, is he still? He's not there anymore. They got rid of him, right? Anaheim? Okay. Yeah. So that's
we
dinosaurs.
Yeah, we saw him there, and that's when Iglesias was going off. He was making plays in the field and getting hits, and Guillorme's just sad in their dugout, I want to be over there.
Oh man. Yeah, it's funny how Stern's oh, you guys want another Guillorme? He's I got the guy for you, don't worry. We can get those guys every single year. Obviously Ahmad Rosario, the number 1 prospect. The Dodgers were can't even fix this fucking guy, so they threw him in the trash heap. If you can't stick with the Dodgers and the Rays doing their little voodoo, I think you're cooked. I don't know where he's going to end up. And he just came in my head right now. Syndergaard, what's Syndergaard doing right now? Is he just podcasting like us?
He wants to pitch next season. I don't know if the team will let him pitch, but he wants to pitch next season.
It's truly remarkable to think that when that picture of Alex Cooper with her hand in his mouth and be which one is going to have a better 5 years coming up? It was her by a millionfold.
Yep.
Dollars-wise, a millionfold too, I think. She's running circles around him.
Dollars-wise, it's 100 million fold.
100 million, yeah, 100 million fold. Shit.
I just saw an article. She's trying to get her 30th birthday sponsored in the Hamptons. Some people just live the life, You know
who had a big birthday sponsored in the Hamptons? I believe the Glenny Balls Fest was going to be sponsored. It wasn't sponsored, but I think it would have been sponsored if it had happened. I think it was called Balls Fest. I don't remember. I was so excited to go out there.
21st.
Yeah, 21st. I had never been to Bordy Barn, so I was then going to go to Bordy Barn the day after. Bordy Barn closes, Balls Fest gets canceled, and we're all just, sitting there holding our dicks and crying.
Who would have thought DM and Adam Sandler hey, you want to come to the Balls Fest? Wasn't a great idea.
Dude, the guest list for that, I have to find it. I know Mo Vaughn was on the list. So it's A-list and then Mo Vaughns of the world. All-time incredible crew there. And then obviously we have to follow all that West Coast up with the A's. And you're all right, let's just get healthy and get right against the A's. Don't fuck around. You see that logo this time of year in a playoff race. We go back to Jacob deGrom getting his dick kicked in Oakland and just absolutely just not only just beat up the first game. What was it? It was 9-4. Austin Adams doing the OMG celebration and just, stomping on our graves. I think we'll be in line here. It's fair to say, I don't have a problem with shoving it in your ex-team's face. Your problem with them, you thought you were better or weren't treated right. You throw it back, and if they throw it back at you, fine. I think it's fair.
I don't have a problem with it, but at the same time, it's he's been cut by 5 different teams. So is he doing this versus the Padres? He's doing this versus the Diamondbacks, the Nats. He could do it. I'm just saying, are you doing this versus the other guys?
It's more of it gets him out of bed in the morning. Like, I'm all for it. You're playing you're in Oakland. That's enough of a punishment as it is. Like, congrats that you're still in the league. But like, if that's what's going to get you out of bed and get you pitching, like, who cares? Like, all the fuck yous and everything. It's like the other dugout, like, none of the Mets players cut you. It was the front office that said you were trash. Like, what do they care? But hey, it seemed like they got fired up about it. So if he's like the thing that reignites their offense and our hitting, like, great.
Yeah, he could be on the championship DVD or whatever you want to video
Him
file.
And Meeks guy throwing the glove.
Jorge Lopez. And my guy, Jesse Winker, they said he, like, the way he celebrated after that second inning single, they said that kind of got all the boys fired up in the dugout. That's what Winker does. Winker's just, I mean, again, we talked to him, just seems like a good dude, and everywhere he's gone, he seems like, again, he's from Buffalo. He wears that Buffalo, like, kind of person, salt of the earth, get the boys fired up, hockey guy, for lack of a better term. And they're saying, like, that could be our next 2 weeks, could be just going off the Winker celebration. I don't know if Grimace is coming back anytime soon. I really wouldn't. Did you see they have collector cups at McDonald's now? And one of them has Grimace on it. It's from like the 80s. I guess there was an old Grimace mug. So I'm going to get an adult Happy Meal. And if I can get the Grimace cup, I'll consider that like good juju the rest of the season. But it was good to see Winker kind of doing Winker stuff. And KFC said it in the group chat yesterday. Like, the seventh inning, the bottom of the seventh inning of tonight's game might have just saved whatever is left of the Mets season right now. Because it honestly felt like, just choking, gasping for air. What was the score at the time? It was 3-1. 3-1, yeah, 3-1. So you're like, all right, I know how this is going to end, and it's going to end very poorly. And somehow, some way, they string it together. Francisco Lindor in the middle of everything as usual. And here we are, boys. We have a game now, granted, we have a game at 1 o'clock today, and we could be feeling like absolute dog shit in a couple hours. But as of now, we have this game, and then we get the Marlins coming to town. Barstool at the ballpark this weekend. OMG T-shirt giveaway.
Yep.
So OMG T-shirt giveaway. Obviously, all you can drink for 3 hours, or seventh inning, whatever comes first. We got the food voucher, and just get to party with some like-minded Mets fans. These things have been growing every single month because the team is not absolute dog shit like they were in March. So very excited about that. Marlins scare the living piss out of me, even without Jazz Chisholm. So check it out.
I said it going into it. I was like, we have to sweep the Athletics and at least take 2 out of 3 from the Marlins, because you don't expect to sweep the Marlins ever. Like, there's never a time when you go into it and then you just leave like swept or 1-3. So now that they already lost to the Oakland Athletics, they really need a sweep if they can manage it. But like, there's just something about the Marlins. It's some no-name guy will come out and become the next Met killer. It's just inevitable.
It just feels inevitable. We're 8 back of the Phillies right now in the standings, 2 back of the Braves for the last wild card.
We're almost as close to the Phillies as we are to D-backs and Padres. Those teams literally just don't lose.
I will say, if they can bounce back from this, do all right on that West Coast trip and just tread water and get within 6 of the Phillies with all those games in September, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm dumb enough to believe it can happen. Right? Is that fair to say? Like, I don't think it's too crazy to just be like, at least we can make this, and then the Braves are going to be in the mix as well. So they'll be fighting off 2 teams. Looking here, the first 2 Marlins pitchers have a 5 ERA this weekend. So I'm expecting them to both throw gems. And then Valente Beloso, 2-1 with a 2.28 ERA. I'm sure he'll throw like the Marlins, when they have a guy like that with those numbers, they usually throw like a 3-hitter against us.
And that Sunday game is actually the Roku game, where you can only watch if you have a Roku or MLB TV.
I fucking hate Major League Baseball. So
there's 18 different fucking streaming services, and all they do is complain about how the other 2 leagues are more popular with younger kids, and then they put it on Roku?
Yep.
Roku's for the olds, right? Like,
yeah.
My parents are like, I love Roku. I can understand it. And I'm like, guys, and I'll consider myself an old. These are the super olds. These are the boomers. Like, how are you marketing? It should be on Twitch, or I know Twitch isn't probably even TikTok. It should be on TikTok. That's, you can do live shit on TikTok. House of the Dragon was on TikTok. Our recaps we would do. Nikki Hamilton got us on TikTok. What are you doing putting that shit on YouTube, on Roku? Oh God, I just hate this. And how do you have to own a physical Roku, or is there like a Roku.com where you can stream it?
I think you also you don't even need like an MLB TV package. You just need to log in MLB TV and there's no blackouts.
But
Okay.
nobody really has MLB TV because you can't watch the Met games in the market. You still have to watch on SNY.
Very dumb.
I just despise it. I despise it.
Who approves this stuff?
It's been marked on my calendar for months. No, we have that Roku game. It's gonna be hard to explain how to watch that game.
All right, Phil. Now I'm gonna really test the meek Philness of this entire story. Who are the announcers?
Oh, I have no idea who.
I was gonna say, if you knew that answer right on the top of your head, I was gonna put you in fucking therapy.
I do know. I think it's an MLB TV broadcast, the way the graphic package is the same way the Padres and D-backs have theirs.
Yeah,
they're not with Bali. I have no idea who's announcing.
Roku doesn't have any talent, so all they do is they have the engineers that make it work and create that little purple city with all the animations. No one's on there to talk baseball.
Now, I will say this. Don't talk shit about the purple city.
I'm not. It's impressive.
Fun as fuck to watch, right? We can at least agree about that with Roku. Yes. I like watching the purple city. So if that person's in charge, I actually feel pretty good about it. But they're not doing the Apple TV thing where it's oh, you've never called a baseball game? Get in the booth. Let's just do a fucking regular season game. And granted, I think was our first game on Apple TV against the Phillies.
No, we were the first ever Apple TV game though versus the Nationals 3 years ago.
Okay, I just hate division games being played there, and that's when division games meant more. You had more of them at least.
And that was when they literally just threw people into it. And then I think we played the Angels, and that's when they hired Randazzo, and then Randazzo ended up using that to get hired by the actual Angels.
Yes. Shout out Randazzo.
Someone just tweeted at us. It's Paul Severino and Anthony Recker on the call.
Severino and Recker. Wow. The Dick Recker. Okay. But it's not 11 o'clock, right? We're not doing weird.
12:05.
12:05. All right, fine. Just get this shit over with, and we move on to where we can. Andrew Claudio, Team Purple City. I'm gonna go on the YouTube. I'm just gonna watch the Purple City. I might have a Roku buried somewhere.
And stuff too. It's good. It's a good time. Don't get me wrong.
It's a good thing, but it is that is what Major League Baseball's you know what? I think this will really get some more kids locked into baseball. At some point, they have to realize your audience is going to literally die off. You have to go younger, not older, you fucking buffoons. I'm going to go on. I'll have another rant for later. I might have done it last week, so maybe I won't. But
so then you just put in to listen to Howie, which, by the way, WCBS News is just not a station anymore. They just got sold. So Mets fans were scrambling with that too, thinking that we were going to lose Howie. Thankfully, they're just going to randomly put them on the radio every night, and then just let whoever else is taking it over run it the rest of the time.
And who bought ESPN, or WFAN bought it?
Odyssey sold it to ESPN New York to cut in.
Gotcha.
But they won't do the baseball games, thankfully.
Okay. Yeah, it's very confusing the way the radio stations are changing hands these days. Obviously, the Mets have been bouncing around for a little bit. Barstool confession, I stopped listening to FAN about 3 or 4 years ago. It's just not my cup of tea anymore. I don't really like the hot take stuff they do on there. It's become a meme now where it's New York sports talk radio when someone has a crazy take on Twitter. I like my podcast now. My podcast, it's real fans talking like real people instead of who's the guy who always says the NL East is over and always pisses off Mets fans, that Licata.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's things like that. I don't have time for it in my life anymore. Mike and the Mad Dog, God rest that show's soul. That was kind of the last gasp for me. But if you want to enjoy some baseball that is not a bunch of silliness on Roku, you can go for some DraftKings, because you know what summer means to me: beaches, barbecues, and baseball, baseball, baseball. So after you check out today's pitching matchups, head over to DraftKings Sportsbook and get in on all of today's action. From the first pitch on the East until the final out West, DraftKings has you covered with same-game parlays, live betting, odds boosts, and so much more. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. It's that simple. Let's take a look at the odds today. We won't give our picks, but we'll just tell you, let's see. The New York Metropolitans at 1:10 p.m. are minus 185 on the money line with old Quintana Mania on the mound against Mitch Spence. And what's the nightcap tonight? We have the Twins and the Rangers. It's an early night tonight because I guess it's a getaway day. Bailey Ober versus Cody Bradford. Twins minus 118 in that game. So, and if you're new to DraftKings, you got to check this out. New customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sports app now and use code BELIEVE. That's code BELIEVE for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Do you think maybe they could do like the Purple City and put some like baseball, maybe a little baseball Purple City, Kyle? Would you get down for that? I get down for that, right?
I would probably enjoy watching that more than the actual game.
That's true.
They can do the split screen. That's how you get the kids involved. You have like the TikTok, the overstimulated. You got that on the bottom as they're building the city, and then there's baseball on too.
Oh, dude, YouTube TV. Only way I would watch Olympics is with the quad box. It's like, and then I could just change the sound. Even watching like the Olympics basketball, like even US, that should be like the main course. But I could just throw that on one of the screens. It's big enough because you have big TVs now. So even that little screen is pretty big in its own right. But then like commercials or like free throws or something, you just kind of just shoot your eyes around, man. So yeah, our brains are shattered. We need that kind of stimulation. So yeah, let's talk to the Roku folks. I'm sure they'd be open to some like business dealings with Barstool. I think we could get something done here, Kyle. I mentioned the Rangers there just by happy coincidence. And the story that came out, it was Ken Rosenthal who said the Texas Rangers might be looking to do the old, I guess it's the Angels dump off, which is essentially dump a bunch of potential like upcoming free agents to save some cash. Andrew Heaney, David Robertson, old friend there, Kirby Yates, and Jose Leclerc. They would save almost $6 million by doing that. I don't know how much of this is like Rosenthal connecting dots, if he's heard whispers. I feel like you don't go with someone like this unless you feel like there's a real chance of at least something happening. I have two thoughts on this. One, I think it's lame. I think it's shitty. I thought when the Angels did it, it was stupid. For baseball, it's like when the guy in your fantasy league is like, fuck it, I'm just going to dump everyone, and I'm going to tank, and I'm going to do all this stuff. As a team that could use some pitching, kind of like it. Not going to complain if that's the thing that gets us a fucking another arm or two for October, especially having an owner that will spend money. I kind of love it. So, Phil, what do you think about all this silliness?
I agree with you that it's entirely dumb. Although, like, I wouldn't mind David Robertson back. Just like that. But at the same time, it goes by waiver order. And what's stopping a team like the Giants or the Cubs or the Reds from saying, like, hey, we're still in this too. I'm going to claim this guy. So we're ahead of the Braves in a waiver order, but, like, we're still not in a great spot in terms of if those guys were available.
That's true. Kyle, what do you think of all this?
As a team that constantly deals with the Rangers, because we gave them DeGrom and we gave them Scherzer and we gave them Robertson just signed with them. Like, I could see them working out something if it's like we're definitely eyes on, and Stearns is getting into the nitty gritty of the numbers if they do go to the market. The third wild card has already ruined, and like we're going to benefit from it, but it's already ruined like the level of competition of the scale of everything. Take that and then take this on top of it, and you're basically just having the teams eat each other. And then it lets these other teams off the hook. So, like, the Rangers won last year. They don't need to win for the next decade. And they're like, okay, let's get all this money off of the books and start fresh. And then next year we can reload and try to go for it again. Then you end up with a team like the White Sox, who's like got 29 wins. If every team starts doing that, people have this same problem, different scenario, but with the Astros losing over 100 games for like 3 straight seasons to become a juggernaut now, like there's a proof factor to it that you can be good if you do this, but it's not beneficial to anyone else.
Although the Rangers
Yeah.
could have just sold like 3 weeks ago and gotten actual returns for like a
Right.
David Robertson, Kirby Yates, or whoever, rather than just salary dumping like savings. Like that's just bad asset management.
Yeah.
Phil, I think you got the old Trump audio compression going on. You just got a lisp. That was kind of awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Did you guys hear those videos the other night? That was
Oh god, because my AirPods died, so now I'm just using
okay.
the regular mic.
I kind of like Meek Lisp. I'm not gonna lie; it adds a little flavor to the pod. So I'm looking here at the list here. I mean, as of today, waiver goes basically just like reverse record, right? So the White Sox would have number one waiver claim. The Giants are right below, are below us. Cardinals, Reds, Rays, Cubs. They also think would ownership want to take on salary. So like the Pirates, I think we could cross them off probably. Blue Jays, Tigers. But then, like you said, Phil, we're above them. We have a better one than the Braves, better than the Pods. So it's like those teams wouldn't be able to touch us. This is a loophole. It's going to be an annoying loophole until they reopen the CBA, and then they'll figure out another loophole down the road. If it could help us, let's fucking go for it. If it can't help us, then whatever. Phil, like in your dark web like dealings here, does it sound like it's going to happen, or is it just kind of just up in the air for now?
It up in the air. Like at the same time, like there is a level of pride. Like you can't just do this and say like the Angels had a bad precedent. Like not everyone can be the Angels.
Yeah, they really did fuck things up. Crazy how that works, where like the Angels are always like one of the biggest disaster franchises that makes the entire sport and league look awful. What's the latest on the White Sox here? Are the White Sox playing themselves out of 62 Mets territory? I know they did win a game.
Still on pace.
Still on pace. Kyle, we mentioned this last episode. Do you want to see the White Sox break the Mets record, or do you like having that stupid, funky like record associated with the Mets just because like 62 Mets were like the gold standard for dog shit?
That's like our last remaining, like no one thinks the Bobby Bonilla thing is as funny as it is. Like we're still like on record as the worst team that's ever played baseball. So like that's funny. But if the White Sox break it and then we win the World Series this year, like that was the curse we didn't even know we had. Yeah. So that's the only way I'll accept it.
That's a fair. That's a fair point. I also didn't realize Grady Sizemore was the manager. There was such a big story when they fired Pedro Grifo or whatever that I was like, oh shit! Like I was in Chicago for it all, but it was more about the firing and just the whole handling of the situation. The fact they put his record in the press release was such an unnecessary. It's Wilpons all over again. Like all the shit the White Sox do. It's friends of friends, sticking on too long, taking care of his guys. But Grady Sizemore back in the day. I mean, Kyle, Phil, you remember him. I imagine. But like, I thought Grady Sizemore was like the next star. Grady's ladies, good looking dude, just a fucking
cover of Sports Illustrated. It was like they were like his swing was created in a lab of Ken Griffey Jr.-esque type of thing, and then the injuries were just so brutal. He was so good.
Why Sizemore matters. I don't remember he was on that side, but that's a sick fucking head. Man, that side used to cook back in the day. Why Sizemore matters. And he's just staring right into your soul, swinging on with the Indians.
Does he have the eye italic hat on in that one?
No, it's all Chief Wahoo. They haven't updated that yet, so that might be a collector's item. I don't know if you can still buy that one from back issues, because that might be a little offensive for some people, we'll just say. So that's basically about it. We got Barstool the Ballpark this weekend.
South lot. It's off of the train. It's on the left-hand side when you're coming over the overpass thing there.
Yep.
2 hours before the game.
So the drinks start at 3:10 p.m., right? Because the game's at 4:10. So we'll probably set up shop around 2:30 in the Southfield lot. Or I'll make sure I'm there by 2:30. We'll probably just, have a few cold, refreshing Coors Lights for those that want to meet us. It's called the Southfield lot. Basically, if you're looking at the stadium, it's the Apple and all that kind of stuff there. And then if you're walking away from the stadium, there's the subway. You then go across the street, like underground there, and it's that little parking lot. You kind of see like some ramps to go up to the Long Island Railroad. Just have a few brews there, talk, hang out, stay chill, play whatever the song of the time is, which hopefully is some sitting on the dock of the bay. We're going fishing. I don't know. We'll figure something out there. So hopefully we're in a better state then than we are now. the game in an hour and a half will have a big part to do with that, as well as Friday night's game. So for anyone that's going, let me know. Hit me up on Twitter at the Clem Report. Just let me know if you guys are going. I know we got a bachelor party coming. So we got a bachelor party, little Marlins baseball, OMG shirts. All the boys will be dressed up like a bachelorette party, all dressed up the same. Throwing back some nice, refreshing Coors Lights and having themselves a little baseball game, a little day baseball. Hopefully get a win. And then, hit up New York City after a nice day drinking session. That is the dream right there, as is some Mets wins. So let's go get some wins and gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.